Starting on the front of your hip, working on TFL, and all the way down quad. Get right down to just above the kneecap. After about 10 to 15 seconds on each of these, you're going to roll to the next one. In this case, we're going to go to the outside of the thigh. Some more IT band. All the way down, vasculated off the outside of the quad. Make sure to get all the way down just above the kneecap. Think about separating the quad from the patella. It's a good way to look at it. Okay. Once you spend some time there, we're going to head over to the inside of the thigh. We're going to get all the way from right up in the groin, right down to just above the knee. In particular, paying attention to where adductor magnus and vastus medialis come together. If you do this right, you should look like a monkey humping a football. All right, we're going to stick with the roller. We're going to go up and we're going to roll out your lats. In this case, we're going to go from the base of the shoulder blade right up into the armpit, making sure that you're right about a 90-degree angle to the roller. Okay. Don't go all the way down to your back. You want to stay right up in that armpit area. So base of the shoulder blade, right up to the armpit. From there, we're going to just turn over and do pecs. So it's a little bit trickier to get at. Got to angle yourself perfectly. Make sure you don't take off a nipple. Right there. And then we're just going to turn over and go to thoracic extensions. Okay, you should be able to get your entire upper back in about 3 passes. You'll notice that Tony keeps his butt on the ground, hands back. He doesn't go into cervical extension, right? He keeps his chin tucked the way it should be. Make sure it's all thoracic extension. It's not just the lower back movement, it's the upper back getting some range of motion. Gets that third pass, and once we finish that up, we're going to go up and roll on our rhomboids. So for this one, you're just going to cross your arms across your chest, and we're going to roll out the upper back. You'll notice that Tony doesn't move all the way down to his lower back. He keeps it right from like that mid-spine up to just short of the neck. Okay, so he gets a little more range of motion there. Okay. Once he's gotten that done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in the ball. Ball's a little bit more focal than the roller, so we can get more work done with that. We're going to start out on the calves. Work on 3 positions. We're going to go down by Achilles first. Once we spend some time on that, we're going to go up and work on the outside of the calf. And again, we're doing these on both sides. We're just showing you one side. So lateral gastroc and peroneals. And then we're going to go towards the medial aspect of the calf. Then one on the inside. From there, we're going to take it up, work on glute medius and piriformis. What Tony's going to do is cross that right leg over the left, put the ball right underneath his butt, and I become a pain in the butt, literally and figuratively, as he works it out. As he nods in agreement. You should have some stuff going on here, especially if you're someone who's had anterior or lateral knee pain. It's a real common set of trigger points. All right, we're going to take that ball, we're going to go up to the backside of our shoulder girdle, infraspinatus, so posterior rotator cuff. Just going to put the ball right in there. Find those hot spots. What we're going to do is we're just going to take it through internal and external rotation. Kind of like a poor man's soft tissue work here with some range of motion built in. All right, so internal and external rotation. You'll notice that he doesn't just go into elbow flexion extension. He keeps that elbow locked right at 90 degrees and just rotates right on top of the ball. Okay. Last one we're going to do is he's going to stand right up and just work on the base of his foot, so the arches of his feet. You can just kick that shoe right off, stand on the ball, work it out. Real common problem for people who pronate too much, also supinators as well. Plantar fasciitis is something that can affect everybody. So something you really want to work on tissue quality here. Lots of intrinsic foot muscles that can get going. That'll do it.
Building some mobility through the thoracic spine, also known as the upper back. So what we see with Mike when he sets up is he's got a foam roller here supporting his top leg, which makes sure that his lower back stays in a neutral position. From here, what he's going to do is he's going to initiate it by reaching with that top arm and then creating this big circle up over the top. And then he'll kind of stop when he gets back to this nice equal and opposite position. Okay? What you'll notice as he goes through this is 2 things. One, he follows his hand with his eyes. So he uses some mobility at his neck to kind of drive some at what goes on at his upper back. But just as importantly, you'll appreciate that he's not just cranking on his shoulder. Instead, this is an upper back mobility drill, and the shoulder kind of comes along for the ride. So as he reaches around, the shoulder blade needs to tip back on the rib cage just a little bit to create that good mobility. You'll still feel a good stretch through that pec, but it's all about getting that upper back a little bit more open. Okay, we're going to show you 4 mobility drills today that you can integrate in a bunch of different ways in your daily lives. Obviously, first and foremost, we use these as part of our warm-ups before exercise, but by that same token, you can use them at the end of the day if you've been sitting at a computer all day. You can do them on your lunch break if you're looking to kind of break the monotony of being in one posture all day. And it's really, really important to add this amplitude to your daily lives. So we're going to take you through the demonstrations with Chris's help here. We're going to start off with something called a wall hip flexor mobilization. You'll notice he's going to go down to a lunge position, using the wall as kind of a brace to hold him in the right posture. He's going to go hand right down to his foot and rock forward, taking the heel to the butt as he goes along. So as he does this, he's extending his hip and he's flexing his knee. So he's stretching muscles that cross both joints throughout a full range of motion. You'll notice as he rocks through there, he's got a chin that's tucked, and basically his entire torso to his leg is a nice straight line. So rock forward, trying to take that heel to your butt. As you get to that front position, try to squeeze your glute a little bit. You'll find a stretch in the front of your hip and all the way down your quad. Some people may not have the flexibility to get to this position, so for those individuals, we'll just keep the foot down on the ground and we'll just do the hip portion and rock right along. Typically do sets of 8 per side, and then we'll progress right on to our next exercise. We're going to do a supine bridge with reach. Okay? In this position, you'll notice Chris, it's about a 90-degree angle at his knees, and all he's going to do is he's going to push through his heels and bridge right up. Okay? So in that top position, he's going to squeeze his glutes and then just kind of do a reach. Okay? We usually alternate sides. We'll go 6 per side. As he bridges up, we're trying to keep that lower back out of the motion. Instead, he should feel it in his butt and maybe a little bit in his hamstrings. But you'll notice for some people, the toes will come up off the ground, and that can help keep their weight back a little bit. As he bridges up, he's going to brace his core, and he's going to focus on rotating through that upper back. So we're trying to build some mobility in what we call his thoracic spine, or his upper back, while that core stays stable. All right? So we're going to roll over onto our stomach here. For our next exercise, yoga push-ups. All right, so it's a regular push-up in that bottom position. As he gets to the top, he's going to shoot his hips back up nice and tall. You'll notice his head stays right in line with his body. The chin is tucked. He's basically getting a little bit of full shoulder flexion. He's getting some upper back mobility. He's getting a stretch on his calves, a little stretch on his hamstrings. And then he comes back down, does a regular push-up, maintaining that neutral spine, comes back up, pushes his hips back. A lot of people will do this exercise with a lot of excessive arching in the low back. We don't want that. We want to keep that nice straight line. Okay? If you're someone who doesn't have the adequate strength to do a good push-up, just don't go all the way down. Come back to that top position, shoot all the way up, and then for you it might look something just like this, and then you come right back up. So we're still building some good core stability in the process. All right? So that's a yoga push-up. Last one we're going to show you is something called a walking Spider-Man with hip lift and overhead reach. In this case, we're not going to do the walking version just because we want to keep it nice and stationary so you can still see it on camera, but in normal scenario, you might be walking for it. So here's your Spider-Man. You'll notice Chris is kind of stepping out to the side here, using his elbow to push that knee out and get a little bit of a groin stretch. From that position where he's maintained a good posture, he's going to shoot his hip up, get a big stretch on his hamstrings. He's going to drop back down in, and then he's going to reach with that opposite arm to really open up his upper back and get a big stretch in his pec. So let's go ahead and go through another one on the other side here. So lunge down in, push that knee out, good posture here, shoots that hip up tall, drops back down in, reaches with that hand, follows his hand with his eyes to make sure that he's moving at his upper back and not just his shoulder. Okay? So on those, we'll typically go with a set of 5 per side. All right? The supine leg whip. This is a great drill for people of kind of all ages and ability levels. Reason being, if you're a more advanced person, you can use this as part of your warm-up. If you're a little bit more of an entry-level person, this could be more of an actual strength training exercise. So as we go through this, I want you to appreciate how it kind of defines the interaction between hip mobility and core stability. So what Tony's going to do is bridge up just like a regular supine bridge. So he gets some glute activation, getting that anterior core going, getting himself to that nice straight line from his shoulders down to his knees, keeping that anterior core engaged. And all we're going to do is keep your glutes on while lifting one leg up. So right glute is kind of supporting him. And all he's going to do is he's going to drop this foot out to the side and get some abduction range of motion, a little bit of length in his adductors, and come on back up. In the process, he's got to have a lot of rotary stability at his core to resist that rotation that the femur is trying to apply as his foot gets further away from the body. So as we go through this, one thing we can do if we want to make it easier for folks is we can actually just bend the knee a little bit and do it just like this and then come back up. Most folks who are a little bit more advanced will be able to go and do it right here. We usually do it for sets of 8 on each side. Move it down. And Ankle mobility restrictions are one of the most common problems that we see in athletes. And ankle restrictions are a big problem because if your ankle doesn't move enough, you're more likely to wind up with extra motion at your knee. Since your knee is just a hinge, you really don't want to be moving too much there, otherwise you risk injury. So today we're going to take you through an exercise that you can use as part of your warm-up in order to improve ankle mobility and performance. And likewise, we're going to take you through some basic modifications that you can make to your footwear selection in order to improve ankle mobility during your daily lives and your training. John's going to help us out with demonstrating what we call a rocking ankle mobilization. So what we're going to do is we're going to have him go down into a push-up position. He'll take his right foot and take the toe and put it right on top of the heel here. And all we're going to do is he's going to rock down and force that heel to the ground. You'll notice John's not quite getting there just yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to have him walk his hands a little bit closer to his feet. And then we're going to push that heel down to the ground. Getting a little bit shorter helps him out. So we'll rock back up and then right back down. As he goes through here, he's going to get a big stretch along his calf and also a little bit of a stretch across his hamstrings as he goes. So we'll come right back up. Usually hold for a count of 1/1000 in the bottom position. We'll do 8 reps on each side. One other quick way to improve ankle mobility without really any effort on your part is simply to get out of more restrictive footwear. So avoiding big high top sneakers that weigh a lot. One of the shoes that we really like are the New Balance Minimus for this reason. What you'll see from the Minimus is not only is it low cut in the back, but it also has a lot of pliability to it, meaning that it allows you to get a lot of ankle mobility just in your daily lives. So what a lot of our athletes really enjoy is the simple fact that they're more in contact with the ground and they feel like they can put force into the ground a lot easier. So add just a minimalist footwear option to your training program and immediately you're going to get more ankle mobility even if you aren't doing actual exercises to improve it. All right guys, we're going to show you an inchworm. This is a drill that's been around for a long time, but I think people overlook it sometimes with how much it can really offer to a baseball player. We use it as part of our warm-ups. One of the things that we know about pitchers, or really anybody that throws a baseball over the course of a season, is they tend to lose upward rotation of their shoulder blades. So in other words, that's why you see so many guys whose shoulders are kind of sinking down here after they've gone out and thrown 80 or 100 innings over the course of a season. So one of the things that we try to do in our warm-ups is try to get arms up overhead as much as we can. Teaches good neutral core positioning, but it drives that good upward rotation of our shoulder blade that we want so we can get our shoulder back to a good healthy position. So inchworms are a great way to get some lower half mobility, to get some core stability, and also to drive some good control of your upper back and shoulder blades. So all we're going to do is, I tell guys, go right down into a toe touch, walk your hands to the point that they're way out in front of your body, so we're getting some good upward rotation of our shoulder blades. We're getting our rotator cuff to fire like crazy. Our chin's tucked, so we're teaching neutral spine positioning, and we're not arching our back, so we're braced nice and tight. And then we're just going to walk our feet right back up, get a good hamstring stretch, and then we're going to walk right back out in front to a good position out here where we're resisting that extension and getting good range of motion through our shoulders. So we usually just do a set of 5 or 6 as part of our pre-training dynamic warm-up. Great way to kind of get those shoulders a little more warmed up and also get some real good functional carryover to what it is you want to do.